Today's the day, and this is what we're doing. Well, since I'm still here in Memphis, taking care of some family business, stuff like that, I decided to get out for a little bit today and do a video. Hadn't done one of these in a while, so I figured I'd do it. But today we're at a place where I grew up a long time ago, from as long as I can remember. I was a tiny kid when I used to come out here. This is Audubon Park, located in Memphis, not far from the Perkins and Park corner intersection, as it were. Anyway, but this place is Audubon Park. It looks a lot different now than it used to, but the basic bones and structure is still here. But I spent a lot of time out at this place. I'm just gonna take a little walk around the whole lake. And I know it's gonna bring back memories as I do. And I'll kind of talk about the changes and the differences that have happened since I was here on a regular basis as a kid. Definitely brings back memories of being out here, though. Of course, a lot of this has grown up over the years. A lot of these trees you see along the banks there were not here when I was a kid growing up. Those have all kind of grown up since then. All this stuff here, none of this was grown up like it is now. Now that's something that hasn't changed. Geese, there used to be a lot of ducks out here. There used to be tons of ducks and geese at this lake, and we would come out here and bring a loaf of bread and feed them. Usually it was, well, speaking of, there go some ducks flying by. But yeah, we would bring a whole loaf of bread out here and just sit out here on the bank somewhere, and the ducks and geese would come up, and we would sit there and spend the afternoon feeding them. Now, right next to the Audubon Park lake itself is the Audubon Park golf course, public golf course. If you watched one of my videos from a few months ago when I was here back in July for the family reunion, this is the course I was showing you that was going under extensive renovations. That is still the case. They're not going to be opening again until sometime in 2024. But yeah, that's it right over there, right in that area there. And like I said, it's right across from the lake here. Well, as it turns out, I'm not going to be able to take a walk around the lake. I'll be able to go around part of it, but the direction I'm going right now is closed off because they are doing construction back in here, and I actually believe that is now part of a different property, a place where you can rent out areas for weddings and events and things like that. So they do have this chain link fence here, and you're not allowed to go in there at this point. So that's a bummer. But I'm going to go back around the other way. It looks like there's pretty open egress to get around the other side. So I'm going to check that out. They've even got a wooden fence over here too. See right there, blocking off anybody's ability to walk over in there, because like before, as you can see the lake over there, this whole area around the lake was wide open. It was part of the park, but obviously not now. I'm making my way around the lake now. and heading kind of in a southeastern direction around this lake. They still have these benches here, and probably not the same benches that were here 40, 50 years ago, but I still have benches here, which is nice to see. I wonder just how much this park is still utilized, honestly. But I just remember back when I was coming here a lot when I was a kid, it was packed, especially on weekends. It was insanely packed. This was just kind of one of the places to come and hang out on the weekends. There were people everywhere, as far as you could see out here, having picnics and bringing their dogs and their kids and all over the place. It was just absolutely one of the places to be. Now this is really interesting because something's catching my attention over here. I think this is the same building. Let me get a closer look here. Okay, so you see that building across the water there, right there. It's got to be the same building. It looks like the same structure. It's the same architecture. I mean, it looks like an old building. So what that was is there used to be, it was like a refreshment stand, and they had picnic tables and things like that inside there. So when you were here, you could eat your food inside there in the shade, or go to the counter and they would actually have a refreshment stand where you could order soft drinks or snow cones or hot dogs or hamburgers, things like that. I totally forgot about that, but yeah, right there now, right in front of where you see the steps coming down right there, there was a path that led straight up to the edge of the water, just like you see there, and at the end of that there was a pier with a dock that went out, but it was an enclosed dock, not a dock to get on like a boat or something. But you would actually walk out on the dock and look down in the water. People would fish off of the edge of that dock. So that's exactly where that used to sit, was right there. Really cool. So that's interesting. But that building is still there. I had no idea. Unfortunately, we can't go over there because it's on the private property now, but yeah, it's still there. And then over here, of course, this structure over here, this has all been added since I used to live here in Memphis, and all of that over there, that's all part of the new private property that's over there. But that's really cool. I had no idea that was still there. One of the really cool memories I have of coming out here when I was a kid, I was probably no more than 5 or 6 years old, but one of the things that was kind of unique to the 70s, they used to have kite flies. And what that meant is literally what it says: you bring kites and you fly them, and like dozens and dozens of people would come out here with their kites and we just fly the kites. I'm sure there was contests involved and stuff like that for the best kite and longest flight and all that kind of stuff, but I just remember bringing a homemade kite. Yes, we made our own, with sticks for the cross pieces, and then I just put almost like it's not really construction paper. I can't really think of the actual term for it, but it's basically just like kind of like the paper you would wrap meat in or something like that, like you see at the butcher shop, things like that, like butcher paper, I guess would be an accurate description. So anyway, I made it with that, and you put that paper across it, and then I would draw whatever image you wanted to decorate it with. And what I used was, I was, of course, big into original Star Trek back then, and I drew the USS Enterprise and put Star Trek and drew the logo and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I remember bringing that out here when, again, I was no more than 5 or 6 years old, and we were all along the banks of this lake, and people just fly their kites, and we spent the Saturday afternoon doing that. That's just kind of an idea of just an example of some of the stuff that would always happen out here. This was such a vibrant, lively place back then. Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it around to the area I was hoping to make it to, because once again they have a fence installed here, and it is for authorized personnel only. No entry to Memphis Botanic Gardens, which is of course located just on the other side of those trees there. So unfortunately, that is not an option. I'm not doing these videos aren't important enough to go and get arrested for trespassing. But I can stand outside the gates and show you, this used to be an active city road that went behind the park. The lake is right over here for context. You can kind of see it right through there, actually. Anyway, there's a hill behind these trees that, again, weren't that tall back then. There was a hill that would go from where the top of the lake, where the lake was, all the way down to the road. And as kids, we would take cardboard boxes, you'd open them up, make them flat, and then you just slide down the hill. And it was so much fun. Of course, if I went over there and saw how short it is now, it's probably tiny. But when you're, 5, 6 years old, it's like going down a mountain. But yeah, that was a very common thing that we would do. All the kids would be over there just sliding up and down that, or sliding down that hill. So that was always a lot of fun. Another really cool, fun pastime that we used to do out here back in the day. Okay, so I made my way back around. Just a few minutes ago, I was right over there, which is where the gate is blocking egress to that back road back there. So I've basically just made my way around this little corner of the lake to come over here and show you basically that little ridge with the hill that I was talking about. If you see that ridge right there between the clumps of bushes and trees and things that runs along there, that's the ridge where the hill would start, and then the hill would slope away on the back side of that. It is definitely taller than what you see right there on the back side. It's like 3 times that tall going down to the road. But that's where we would play a lot up on top of that ridge, and then use our cardboard boxes to slide down. If you didn't have a cardboard box, you just rolled, and that was fun too, to a 6-year-old. So had a blast doing all of that. Well, I was just about to wrap up, and then I remembered another part of the park where I used to hang out with when I was a little older. This was in probably my, I'd say, 20s, just in my late teens, early 20s. So this would be 80s into the early 90s. But this spot over here, you can see behind me where the lake is. So I'll put that in context. So directly in front of me is this other area, which you can see right here. And me and some friends would come out here and play basically just park football. We'd bring the ball out, and we'd just play. We'd always play touch. We were wimps. We didn't play tackle. but yeah, right out here in these areas here, we would play touch football. There'd usually be enough. We'd usually get enough guys together for like 5-on-5, 6-on-6, stuff like that. But yeah, that was right out here. And again, it's just, if you pan over here, there's the lake. You can kind of see where we are here, just over on the east side of the lake. So that's basically it. Not a big long video today. Just wanted to kind of come back here, and this is the first time I've been out here in a long time. Decades, literally decades since I've been out here. So just kind of wanted to see where things were and how they looked today. But anyway, thanks for joining me on this little nostalgic trip down memory lane, and I appreciate you liking the channel, subscribing, and supporting it. I appreciate it very much, and I will see you again in the next video. Thanks a lot.